Hey everybody, welcome to EduMatch. Thank you so much for joining us. So follow along with us at podcasts with an s.edumatch.org/tweet talk. And speaking of EduMatch, if you want to be the featured person of the day, then sign up. Go to edumatch.org, look for the sign up button on the top right hand side, and then just fill out the Google form. So there is a wait, but don't worry, because as you wait, then some really cool stuff will happen. First of all, if someone comes up that is matched for you, then you'll get tagged. Second of all, your blog will be tweeted out to our network of about 25,000 right now. So we'll tweet that out as long as we can find the RSS feed. And in addition, we can add you to the Voxer group and just a whole lot of cool stuff. So definitely check that out. I know I've been kind of sleeping on it. So thank you for your patience for those of you who have recently signed up, and that will be processed shortly. So today, we have an awesome panel. As y'all can see, we're going to be talking about teacher joy and well-being, or educator joy and well-being. So got to give a huge shout out to Akilah Ellison. She was originally scheduled to moderate this panel, but she's under the weather. So I told her, don't worry about it, rest up, get better. I'll jump in for tonight, and then we're going to bring her back for a part 2. So we're just going to go ahead and have the panel members introduce themselves. So we'll be going from my left to my right. So we're going to kick things off with Dean.
Hey everybody, my name's Dean Gainey from the city of Orlando, Florida. Certainly happy to be here tonight, and I am a grade 4 and 5 language arts teacher, as well as a gifted in technology teacher down here, and definitely enjoying my time in the classroom with the kids. So I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
All right, we are happy to have you as always. So thanks, Dean. All right, going next to Katie.
Hi guys, I'm Katie, high school teacher librarian out in Central California, and I teach adjunct for Fresno Pacific University, which means I get to pretty much teach everything and everyone. So super excited there, ready to rock our joy here.
All right, awesome. Yes, ready to rock the joy. I love that. Love that. All right, awesome. Well, welcome back, Katie. All right, going next to Nicole.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole Taylor, and I am a blended learning specialist to a school district right outside of Dallas, Texas, where I reside. In this role, I get to work with teachers and students from pre-K through 6th grade, all things digital teaching and learning. And I don't think I could survive as an educator without joy, without tapping into my joy as often as possible. So I'm excited to spread a little joy with you guys this afternoon.
All right, awesome. And we are excited to hear about it. So welcome back, Nicole. Glad to have you here. All right, moving on next to Leslie, aka the Faginator.
Good evening. It is a joy to be here with you all this evening. My name is Leslie Fagan, aka the Faginator, as Sarah just referenced. I think of myself somewhat as a superhero. I currently live and work in Griffin, Georgia for the Griffin-Spalding County School System as an instructional technology coach. I have the pleasure of working with our middle school teachers, high school teachers. We have a gifted center for our K-5 kids, and I also do the alternative school, the psychoeducational facility, and the district office as the person who helps them effectively incorporate tech tools. So I am glad to be here, and I will be 49 next month. So this joy thing in my life is new, but I have taken steps to incorporate more joy into my life. So I thought that this would be a great topic for me to jump in on. And as I stated earlier, I am so glad to be here with my EduMatch friends and family.
And we are super excited to have you here. So happy birthday in advance, Leslie. All of the joy for the upcoming year and happiness, sending that your way. So awesome. Thank you for being here. And last and certainly not least, we have Mike.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Mike Drezick. I am the instructional technology specialist at the Lakeshore Central School District in Angola, New York, just outside of Buffalo along Lake Erie. I work kindergarten through 12th grade. So I was always an 8th grade middle school teacher in mathematics, and definitely learning a lot of new things from spending time in kindergarten and spending time with seniors in high school. So love the topic tonight. I have a lot to learn myself from everyone here, and I'm just excited to be here. So thanks.
All right, awesome. And we're excited to have you.
When I'm 49 years old, I hope that I'm doing something like this. I hope that I still have that joy and passion that Leslie's bringing. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Same here, same here. So it's great to have you back, Mike. Long time no see. Just joking. We had him on yesterday as a special episode. So great to have you back on, Mike. All right, so we're going to kick it over for our very first question. But before doing so, I just wanted to say, hey, see that some people are tuning in. So please chime in on the YouTube live page with your responses to the questions, as well as feel free to tweet them out with the hashtag EduMatch, where they are dropping every so often. So the first question that we have for the panel is, what brings you joy both in and out of work? And how do you find time to incorporate the things in your life that bring you joy? So who would like to jump on that one? Okay, Faginator.
I'll jump in. Oh, go ahead, Leslie.
Okay, what brings me joy? I have rediscovered my love of reading. I have been reading since I was 4, and one summer, I used to be an English teacher before I became an instructional tech coach. One summer, I decided I was going to skip our mandatory summer reading, and I read 37 books for pleasure. I didn't sleep a whole lot that summer, but I read, so I've rediscovered my love of reading, and I've joined Amazon Prime, so I get a free book every month. That brings me joy to just sit and read and get lost in whatever I'm reading. And I don't like to read sappy romance novels and whatnot. And I know this is on YouTube Live. I like to read about people getting tortured, political thrillers, assassins. That brings me joy. Now, I'm not any of those things, but I just like to read. And I find that when I'm reading, I don't really care about all of the foolishness that's going on in the world. And also, I am a volunteer for Cub Scouts. Seeing 6 to 10-year-old little boys building Pinewood Derby cars, that's a different perspective, because obviously I'm not a boy, but volunteering in the community brings me joy because our kids need positive role models. And I like that, the boys will come up to me and ask me questions, and I can tell them jokes and make them laugh, and I can help them, selling popcorn, whatever it is. Those are the things that I do to bring me joy. And also, I find that random acts of kindness bring me joy, because sometimes people are just having, horrible days. And if I can do something, like the other day I went to Chick-fil-A, and I love Chick-fil-A. So I just, hey, let me buy a cookie for my coworker. So when we had lunch, I gave her the cookie that put a smile on her face. Little things like that, putting a smile on somebody else's face, that makes me happy, because people have done the same for me in turn. So that's how Leslie's finding joy in her life right now.
Love it. Definitely those random acts of kindness and just being kind to other people can make you feel better too. Great. All right. So we're going to go next to Nicole.
So Leslie, I think we have a lot of things that bring us joy. That's probably why we're good friends, right? Why we kind of get along. I love to help people. That brings me great joy when I can meet a need. But like Leslie, I've spent the last couple of years reading so much for work that I would say the last 2 years or so, I've really started to pick up books that I love, love, love. I read Issa Rae's book. And after that, it was like I just kind of started to get back into, and she's my best friend in my head. And I just kind of started to get back into books that speak to me. I really love to read. I love poetry. I love live music. Anytime that I can go, because the music always sounds better in person than it does on the radio or on a CD. So anytime I can go hear live music, that really makes my heart skip a beat. Another thing that brings me joy is when I can create things, whether it's like sketchnoting or making a wreath or dusting off my sewing machine. Those kind of things that just kind of let me kind of chill out and connect, kind of, time to step away from the hustle and bustle of being an educator and a mom and a wife, and just do something for me on my own terms. Those kind of things really bring me joy.
Absolutely. And we have like a little back channel going here, and just everybody's just kind of chiming in like, yep. Absolutely. So wonderful. Thanks, Nicole. All right. So Katie.
Yeah, so something that really brings me joy, I found out, is just making and doing. Even though, yes, I'm guilty of like binge watching on Netflix, that doesn't really bring me joy. I want to go and do, if it's working on my garden, if it's making a dinner, if it's going to the gym, getting a workout in, just doing something, creating something that just makes me feel good about myself. And if I'm cooking, then it also helps other people feel good because they got a yummy meal coming. So the ripple effect of the joy going on.
Definitely. Gotta love that ripple effect. And anytime you're in the DC area, I would take you up on that joy. So if you cook anything vegetarian.
Yeah, I can just jump in here, assuming that the hangout keeps going. As far as joy goes for me, it's always been sports. I play a lot of ice hockey growing up, and even in my old age now of 36, with two little kids at home, I'll still jump out there and get on the ice every once in a while, and it's just nice because it just eliminates all of the distractions from the, like you said, the day-to-day hustle and the craziness. So I love the sports. I was never too much into reading, but I definitely am reading more and more professionally than personally. I think I'm gonna have to check out some of those torture books and see what I'm missing out on there. I don't know. And I think, yeah, just making sure that I take time for myself. It just gets so busy. And for me, it definitely has been sports, live music. Someone said that earlier. Who said that earlier? Was it Leslie? Or sorry, Nicole. Sorry. I'm a huge fan of live music, and with kids, I don't get to concerts as much anymore. But I'm hugely inspired by music. The Tragically Hip is one of my favorite bands. I've seen them 28 times live. Unfortunately, they're no longer due to the passing of the lead singer. But I'm actually working into a talk that I'm doing, how that love of music and that love of live music is connecting with education. So I'm trying to be creative in that way as well through that. So those are just a few things for me. And I think discovering new joys as I get older.
Sorry about that. Are y'all able to hear me? Okay, cool. I am so sorry. So I don't know what just happened with my computer, but it did something crazy and I had to reboot. But okay, cool. So we are now moving on to the next question. So what exactly does well-being mean to you? Like what does well-being mean, and how do you make sure that you are being well? Can y'all tell that I just try to come up with that off the top of my head? All right. So the questions are not yet loaded for me, and I'm going to edit all this out in the podcast, but that's all right. So so let's go ahead and jump in with Dean.
Hey, everybody. So what brings me joy in and outside of school? First and foremost, just to see the smiles on people's faces when it comes to in school, and when the kids get it, when the light bulbs come on, that definitely gives me joy. Definitely the music side of things, whenever I can involve myself in music, whether it be writing or singing, that also gives me joy. I will also say, for as a final response, drama, acting. Being able to get out of myself for a little while and be somebody else is definitely a positive for me too.
Yeah, all those things are amazing. So thanks so much for sharing that, Dean. All right, great. So we're now going to move on to the next question about well-being. So today's topic is joy and well-being. So what does well-being mean to you? And are there any particular routines that you follow? I know for me, it used to be getting up at 4 a.m. and going to the gym, but now that's not bringing me as much joy anymore. I think sleeping until 6 is bringing me a little bit more joy in this week. So we'll see if the 4 a.m. wake up call comes back. All right, but who wants to go first with this one? Go ahead, Katie.
Yeah, well-being definitely includes taking care of yourself. Feeding your own needs, the personal relationships you have, making sure you put time into it. So if you do have friends, even though you're teaching, you still continue to have friends because you give them time. And then not losing sight of yourself, little things that make you happy. If it's a walk on your own, if it's getting your hair done a certain way, whatever, but blocking off time for you. And sometimes friends can sabotage that. So instead of telling a friend, hey, I can't meet with you, I've got to go to the gym, because they'll be like, oh, Jim, you can't just forget that. It's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't meet with you because I have an appointment. Now it's a whole different thing, and there's a value to it. And it really is important to make appointments for yourself because you are pretty important.
I love that, making those appointments for yourself. Absolutely, because those are very, very important. All right, so Nicole, how about you?
Oh, I would say similarly spending time with myself. I do have 3 kiddos and a husband who demand a lot of time outside of, being an educator. That also takes a lot of time. So one thing I've started doing, I started this a few years ago, was getting up like an hour and a half before them to spend some time in whatever I want to read. I usually spend some time reading, journaling, some music, so that when everyone gets up and they're pulling on me, I'm ready for it. I think for me, well-being is making sure that I don't feel as if I'm being stretched thin, even though at the end of the day, I probably still am being stretched thin, but it's okay because I've spent some time with me. So yeah, that's kind of what I have to do to make sure that I'm in a good place, is make sure that I've kind of started the day off spending some time with myself.
Love that. So definitely making that time for you. Wonderful. All right, Leslie, how about you?
Last year, my coworker had gotten me into bullet journaling, and I was doing really well with that, where I was writing down, my to-do list, things that make me happy, things that make me sad, just trying to, document what was going on in my life. Well, then I got my foster son, and second grade homework, that math stuff, it just killed me, and it just ruined all of my free time. So I was busy taking care of him. Well, when he left, I lost my joy. So how did I get my joy back? Well, I discovered that going to therapy is absolutely amazing. So I found a therapist, and my therapist is phenomenal. And I've created some Spotify playlists. So when I'm riding around in my car, going to the schools and stuff, I have, depending on my mood, I have that music going. And I'm also back into my bullet journaling, because I find that when I just journal a little bit about what's going on each day, I can see, areas that I need to work on. And if something really good has happened, at the end of the week, when I go back and read it, it's like, wow, I forgot about that. And then putting it down on paper shows me that I think sometimes that things are just really kind of yucky in my life, but I have visual proof that there are some fantastic things going on. So I'm having fun with the bullet journaling, and I'm, got all these different markers and washi tape, and it goes everywhere with me. So I'm able to enjoy the process of being creative, because all of my life I have not been, my mind is not creative, but I'm training it to be creative at the ripe old age of 48 3/4, because in 29 days I will be 49. So I'm getting there, but that's how I'm taking care of my well-being. And plus I've got good friends that I can call on and just chat with them. So that's how I'm doing my well-being right now.
Sorry, I think I had a very long pause. I don't know exactly what's going on with my computer tonight, but for some reason the sound is like acting crazy. But anyway, Leslie, thank you so much for sharing that. Yes, and you made some wonderful points. And for some reason I'm out. You know what? See, maybe if I close that tab, then that would help. All right. So anyway, bringing it back. Leslie, thank you so much for what you just shared. So that was awesome. So let's go next to Dean.
Hey everybody. So well-being, honestly, I look at well-being as being well. And I think it's a daily thing. It's a mindset that you have to think about. And there are times that I clearly get stressed, or there's lots going on. And sometimes it helps me to be able to just sit still and breathe. It's not always easy to do, but just to find myself sitting somewhere or standing, I guess, and breathing. That might involve me turning off the light sometimes, just to make sure that I am bringing myself back to myself. I also like to do the occasional massage therapist trip, as well as visiting the chiropractor for health and wellness adjustments. I believe that's important because, our vertebrae is connected to everything. And so it has really been a benefit for me as I continue to go.
Absolutely. All right. Wonderful. Thank you, Dean. All right. And Mike, how about you?
Well-being to me, I think is, and I really like what Dean said, is just being, still kind of just, being in the moment. I think it's so easy to just be going so fast and just trying to take on so much. I think it's finding balance. I think it's finding time to do the things you love. I think in education, we're so used to just doing things for everybody else. And I mean, that's what makes us great at what we do. But it could also be a bit of a downfall as well, is that we, sometimes we don't look after ourselves. And I know I'm guilty of that sometimes, very much so. And I've learned a lot through, I believe, even towards the end of last school year, I hit what was some severe burnout. And it took that to happen to really realize I need to do better in that area. So, and actually, thanks to Dean, he taught me about essential oils, which I had never even heard of before. And I have a diffuser now that I like. So I've got the different aromatherapies going on. Music as well definitely helps. And I think even for me, it's been connecting with the spiritual side as well. I found a church in my area, and I hadn't gone for a really long time. And I've reconnected there, and I've been going there every Sunday for the past so many months. And it's nice because it's like another family that I never had before. So, and just obviously you can find well-being through just being connected to other people. I mean, it's easy to be on an island. I know in the technology integration specialist role, I don't have a big department. So to lean on other people is huge. And it's just to find great people in this world that, especially are in education, where I find some of the best. And but yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I love the fact that you all are touching on like different dimensions of well-being. So, absolutely. So I couldn't agree more with what everyone said. So fantastic. So we are going next to the following question about programs that you've seen schools or districts do to help promote well-being in staff or even in students. And I'll say that there's one that our insurance company is doing, and it's crazy because there's also a challenge that we do in EduMatch, like on the Slack channel, like counting the steps. So, got my Fitbit right here. I know Katie's part of it too. And and just trying to get the most steps, but they have like something similar with my insurance, and it's like school versus school and like company versus company. So not only are we battling as like teams of like departments, we're also battling, like our whole school district is battling the other districts. So it's pretty cool. So just wondering, some things that y'all have seen in schools or districts where they've been supporting educator and student just wellness and or joy. Leslie, go ahead.
My school district got a grant a couple of years ago for what is known as Project Aware, and that stands for Advancing Wellness and Resilience Education, and it has done wonders in our district. And the Project Aware people, they're phenomenal. We have some mental health clinicians, we've had a lot of interns, and then there's some coordinators, and they've tied that in with our PBIS. They recognize birthdays for everybody, so you get a birthday card in the mail. They're monitoring what's going on with our students and the use of the internet. So if some student is, writing about they're thinking about killing themselves or anything like that, they jump on that immediately. If there's a tragedy in the community, the team is at the school. They, on our professional learning days, like we've done youth mental health first aid training. This Friday, we have adult mental health first aid training. They are providing all of these resources to help with our mental health, and pretty much anything you ask of them, they will make it happen for you. So it's nice to have that for the students, because, you know, a lot of times our students feel isolated, and when they're writing about killing themselves or traumatic events that have happened, they don't realize, and I don't know why they don't realize it, because when they're doing something wrong, we always shut them down, you know, on the internet, but they don't know that we have things flagged, so we're able to get them the help that they need. So that's one of the things that our district is doing. And I have seen incredible growth in the mental health of our students and our faculty because of this grant that we've gotten. And I think it's a 5-year grant. So hopefully we'll be able to sustain it after the money runs out, because the mental health and well-being of our students is paramount. If they've got issues going on outside of school, they're not going to learn inside of school. And same thing with the teachers. If the teachers are having issues at home, they are not fully committed to what's going on in their classroom. And Project Aware has helped turn that around for us.
Love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Leslie. Like, that is so important, you know, to make sure that, like you said, that everyone is taken care of, because, you know, if they're not, then they can't perform at their best. And, you know, we need to make sure that we just love on everybody in our community, our students and our educators. All right, great. So Dean, how about you?
So 2 things I'll mention. One is something recently we had a training on, and it's Sanford Harmony, which is a program that my school is in the process of adopting, that is a focus on social emotional learning, and engaging kids in scenarios with strategies to be able to interrelate, interact with other kids, and create conversation, and really focus on that aspect of learning and how that is so important, moreover, than you know, just trying to focus on the academic kinds of things. And another thing I will mention is yoga. We have we have a yoga rotation, and everybody at our school now goes through a yoga rotation at some point, where they're actually taught by a, believe it or not, a parent who is very much involved in the whole yoga aspect of things. And it has really transformed attitudes. It has transformed well-being. I mean, kids wanting to go and be there, and having strategies to practice in times of trial, or in times of, you know, uncertainty, even in their own lives. And naturally, you know, these kinds of things transcend to us as well, on a different level, but we have had opportunities as educators at our school to get involved in both areas.
Absolutely. And I love how you have the community members, like the parent coming in. So everybody's kind of involved. You're pulling in all kinds of stakeholders. So that's awesome. Great. All right. So let's go next to Mike. All right. You might be muted. There you go.
There you go. Sorry, yeah, I got kids in the background here really loud, so I was trying to get them quiet before I could start talking. But anyway, yeah. One of the things that our school is doing, they're doing some work with trauma-based teaching, trauma-informed teaching strategies, getting the kids to understand the left side of the brain, right side of the brain. I remember I was over there helping teachers use Seesaw for their digital portfolios, and they were actually having the kids bring those in as far as strategies go. And oh, sorry, I don't know if you can hear them or not. So they're yelling in the background. Okay. The other thing too is we did an ed camp, and there was a big initiative on teacher well-being at that ed camp. It was a big wellness day that we did. And one of the things I know, like the app Headspace and Calm, they have a thing that's free for schools. So you can apply on the Calm website and have free access to that for your classroom and to use it with students. So I could maybe tweet that link out to EduMatch, and that was really a nice resource to have, because you could use it too personally for yourself, and then to bring it into your classroom and have those exercises, which I think bringing in that mindfulness is important. But those are a few things that I've seen that our schools are doing. I even think even the brain breaks with things like Go Noodle. I mean, I know that can get a little bit loud and crazy, but I think sometimes just take a break can be helpful for kids. I know this summer I did a book study on the book Teach Like Finland, and that was one of the things that they stressed in that book was them taking the time in between each lesson. I think for every 45 minutes of learning, they had 15 minutes of downtime between their next instructional session, which, and when you think about the way we do things, it's a lot of go, go, go. I know at the middle school, there was 3 minutes between each period. So just things like that, I think, is also learning from what others are doing out there in that department. So, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing about that. So, really, really cool. So I was seeing if Katie or Nicole, either one of you wants to jump in on this one.
Yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of success with schools that incorporate that early morning wake up in some kind of physical activity. The kids really enjoy it, and then they're in a better mindset to start off the day. We have at the other end, schools incorporating good wellness for their staff, which is activities at the end of the day. But if we can preempt that and get a kickstart in the morning, that really helps everyone.
Absolutely. Totally feel you on that. Totally feel you. So that early morning kickstart. So cool beans. We're going to move on now to our final question. So Mike, you actually touched on this a little earlier today in our conversation. But if someone is feeling kind of burnt out, then how can we, and Leslie, you touched on this too, then what are some tips that we could give them to help them find their joy or strategies for well-being?
Okay, I guess I'll talk. I like to talk. I'm kind of like Mike in that for a lot of years, I did not go to church because I was angry with God because my mother died. And then I realized we're all going to die at some point. So stop being angry, get over yourself. And I found a church, and that has been a tremendous help to me. And there are days also when I just find that, and I don't serve the elementary schools in my district, but I will go to an elementary school because those little kids, it doesn't matter what kind of day you're having. And I guess I have this look that says, I need a hug, because and they don't know me, but they'll come up and they'll hug me and they want me to, get involved with what they're doing. That to me brings an awful lot of joy, because that's why we do what we do. It's for the children. So if you get the opportunity to go into a classroom and just sit and talk to a child or play with them, help them create something, especially in a makerspace situation or in the media center, and talk to them about, your favorite book as a child, you're sharing something with them, you're connecting with them on their level. That brings me a lot of joy. And also sometimes I get joy just from going outside and looking around. And oddly enough, camping brings me joy, especially when I can get that fire going and I get that first marshmallow and my s'more stuff together. And I actually do that at home too. But things that, take me away from my job as an instructional tech coach, there's a little bit of stress with that, but there are other stresses in life, family illnesses, whatever. Just find something that puts a smile on your face. And it could be watching The Big Bang Theory, because those folks, they make me laugh all the time. But just find something that puts a smile on your face, and it will take away your frustrations. Everybody's different, but those are the things that work best for me.
Okay, that is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Leslie. All right, going next to Nicole.
Leslie, yeah, if you go into a pre-kindergarten, a pre-K room, you cannot be in a room full of pre-K or kindergarten kids and not leave joyful. They're just like sponges. They soak up everything. That's very true. But I really think any grade level, the further you get from state mandated testing, the more joy you see in those classrooms, which I think that's another tweet and talk for another day, right? But from the teachers and from the students, I mean, they're just so joyful. So thinking about joy, I wrote about this in the first Edgy Snap. I think it was like around year 10, 11 in education, where I kind of lost my joy. And I discovered Ed Camp. And Ed Camp immediately filled my cup. and really let me, gave me a little bit more, well, all of my joy back from being a teacher, because there were just so many demands and so many things that I was being told that I had to do and when to do it and how to do it. And so discovering Ed Camp just kind of snowballed into this like personal learning, personal development, rediscovery of all things that I really enjoy doing. Another thing that has really helped me is having a cutoff time for work, because I think what we do, it can easily consume you. And so you'll go to work and you'll work 8 hours and you'll come home and work another 4 to 6 hours. So I really started giving myself like 2 late days at work and telling myself that once I leave work, that I'm going to tap into other things because I love work. And I think all educators, we love what we do. So that's easily done. But when I come home, I try to put on a different hat, and I try to really be here 100% for my loved ones and my family and my friends, and really spend some time with them. I know that just having a cutoff time, and that doesn't mean that I'm not on my laptop, but I'm usually on Twitter or reading a book or writing something. It's different. So being able to kind of cut things off and enjoy life a little bit more, that has really helped.
I love that, Nicole. I love that. And that just reminded me of something like, because, a lot of us, especially those of us who are connecting and always being like a sponge and soaking things up, then the opportunities are endless to connect and to do things. And I'd been using Calendly to kind of book, different things. And at one point I was seeing, okay, I get off work at 4, I get home at 5, I have meetings at 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 every day. So lately what I've been doing has been scheduling like this one day from 4 to 8, then it's going to be a run day. And I know like when I go running, nothing else goes on the calendar. So I try to do that like 2 days on, 1 day off. So that's like kind of my flow. So cool. So I want to kick it over to Dean now.
So I tend to operate under the philosophy of better out than in. We deal with a lot on a day-to-day basis as educators, and I feel like whatever that tool is, sometimes it's, for me, walking around in nature. I'll go to a wildlife reserve in a heartbeat. I'll go and walk and smell the flowers and let the wind blow and be in the middle of nowhere, because it totally helps me to refresh myself. I also think there's power in reflection. Because I can't tell you the number of times that I have doubted. I have like, okay, what in the world is going on here? And when I go back and I read the stories of positive experiences that I've had in the classroom, when I read those powerful moments where students have, against all odds, have grown and developed and become something they didn't believe that they could be. When I think about those moments that could not have been it could not have happened if it wasn't for a motivated teacher or someone who really was pulling for those kids. I think about those moments and I am empowered again. Like I smile, I laugh, I'm like, oh my goodness, I remember where he was. I remember where she was. And there's something about the power of reflection. And so I encourage everybody to write. I encourage everybody to get it out, the de-stressing part, but then also allowing you for the opportunity to go back and look at those moments that have been positive for you and using those to re-empower yourself.
Love that. Love that. That power of reflection. Absolutely. All right, cool. So we're going to go next to Katie.
Yeah, you've heard nature being brought up quite a few times here, and it's amazing the calming effect that nature has, but it's really multifold, because when you go to nature, half the time where we're camping or whatnot, there isn't technology. So you don't have all of these weird notifications. You don't have these extra things that some random boss or educator is asking to do last minute. You really are disconnecting and focusing on what's important. Even with my boys, when I notice they're bickering a little bit more than usual, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's been a little bit since we've gotten out of town and just de-stressed and disconnected and focused on each other. It does make a difference to just like, whew, get away. No one's yelling at someone for dirty dishes in the kitchen. There's nothing to really complain about. Just enjoy each other.
Absolutely. So I love it. Thank you, Katie. And Mike, let's come to you.
Sure. For me, it really had to be learning that I just couldn't say yes to everything. That was a challenge for me. I mean, I just wanted to help everyone, and no matter what the request was, I would just be there. And it was hard. It took a toll on me, and I think that's probably where some of the burnout came in that I experienced towards the end of last school year. And it was like I said, it was really good to go through that, but I think taking time with the family. I love what Dean said about getting to nature, and what Katie said about, you kind of paying attention to your family's calling and understanding where they're at in relation to it. I mean, nothing's more important than family. And I think it is just imperative that we are aware. And like you said, we're like sponges. I mean, we want to be learning all the time. We want to be connected, and at the same time, unplugging is equally important. And I think things like this, I mean, just being able to hear from everyone else and hear other people's experiences and what they have gone through, and strategies that they use, I think in learning that is super important. So
Absolutely. Yeah, we learn so much like with and from each other. So absolutely. These spaces for dialogue are just like everything. All right. So definitely want to thank all of you for being here tonight. This was such a great conversation. Thank you to everyone who's watching and who is tweeting along with us. Before we go, we do have one very special announcement. So I'm super excited. So we have among us someone whose book is about to drop very, very soon. So, Dean, would you mind telling us a little bit about the why in you?
Okay, so I will tell you that this book has been in the making for the past year and some change, and it truly is about the journey of someone to be and to do and to really understand themselves, and why it's so important to embody that journey as you become who you are, who you're going to be, how important it is that you are there because somebody's waiting on you to be you. And so lots of different perspectives, anecdotes, if you will, of my personal experiences, my personal journey about regarding me as an educator and how I came to be an educator, and many of the people who had a hand in that. And hopefully it will inspire you. Hopefully it will be one of those books that you'll want to put down when you pick up. And hopefully it will remind you of the journey and remind you of the person you really are and within, and give you that empowerment and motivation to keep going. So.
Awesome. Loving it. Thank you so much, Dean, for sharing that with us. Thank you for sharing your experiences and your journey to find the why in you. So definitely wanted to recommend to everybody check that out. So it's available for pre-order right now on Amazon for the Kindle version. It's also going to be out in paperback. So that's going to drop at the beginning of next month, March the 2nd. And hey, Mike, little Mike Jr., Michaela. But yeah, so absolutely. So looking forward to that amazing book coming out. And wanted to once again thank everybody for being on panel. Next week at the same bat time, same bat channel, we are having a discussion on how to use social media for learning. So talking about us, talking about our students. So you can sign up if you want. Would love to have anybody on there who has something to share. So the link is podcast.edumatch.org/sign up. So hope to see you all then. And until then, have a great week. So, one more thing. As I hold up my bandaged finger, let's not forget we have our challenges up for this week. So shout out to Katie for her work on that. On badgelist.com/edumatch, you can go there and earn some badges as you reflect on your learning for tonight. So we have our mile challenge for tonight, which is sharing 3 tweets from tonight's episode, as well as a medium challenge. You share a Flipgrid post. So just go to badgelist.edumatch.org and badgelist.com, my goodness, /edumatch. All right, everybody. So one more time, badgelist.com /edumatch. So everybody have a great week and see y'all next week.